Today's lesson is on special quadrilaterals. We'll be talking about the rectangle, the rhombus, and the square. So let's just review where these come from. So I'm going to start out with, we are talking about quadrilaterals. So quadrilaterals have four sides. And then we talked about, over the last couple of days, a parallelogram. So a parallelogram has two pairs of parallel sides. Well, the parallelogram can have a few more characteristics and call it more common names. So when my parallelogram has four right angles, I call it a rectangle. And a rectangle also has my diagonals that are congruent. When I have a parallelogram that has four congruent sides, I call it a rhombus. So the rhombus, I have the four congruent sides, and then my diagonals are perpendicular and they bisect each other. So we got an added feature here. When I combine both rectangle and rhombus, so when I have four right angles and four congruent sides, then I have a square. So a square has four right angles, four congruent sides. The diagonals are perpendicular and bisect the opposite angles. So let's do some problems to show how these characteristics work. Okay, so quadrilateral MNOP is a rectangle. So the distance from M to O is 2x minus 8. 2x minus 8 from M to O. And from N to P is 23. So from N to P is 23. Oops. N to P is 23. Find the value of x. So since it says I have a rectangle, I know my rectangle, the diagonals are congruent. So I can set up my equation. So I can say my two diagonals are congruent. So I can say 2x minus 8 equals 23 because the word diagonal tells me they're congruent. Okay, so solving for x, I'm going to add 8 to both sides. So I'm going to add the inverse. So I have 2x equals 31. I'm going to divide by the coefficient next to the variable. So divide by 2. So I get x equals either 31 divided by 2 as a fraction or as 15.5 as a decimal. And I was just asked to solve for the variable, so I know I'm finished. All right, let's try another example. Quadrilateral jklm is a rectangle. So the distance from L to P, so from L to P is 3x plus 7. And the distance from M to K is 26. So from M to K is 26. Find the value of x. Okay, so now I have, while I still have a rectangle and I know my diagonals are equal, this time I just have half of this diagonal and the whole of this diagonal. So I can set up my equation two different ways to solve. I can solve by saying that this half and this half are congruent, so I can say 3x plus 7 plus 3x plus 7 equals 26. Or I could set up and say that I know each half is 13. So I could also set up and say 3x plus 7 equals 13. So I can set up the whole equals the whole or the half equals the half. Okay, so solving, I'm going to combine like terms first. So 3x plus 3x is 6x. 7 plus 7 is 14 equals 26. I'm going to add the inverse. So I'm going to subtract 14. So 6x equals 12. Divide both sides by 6. I'm going to divide by the coefficient next to the variable, so I get x equals 2. So I should get the same solution with my other equation. So let's just make sure that this works. So I'm going to add the inverse, which is -7. So 3x equals 6. Divide both sides by 3. So I get x equals 2. So I just verified I can either set whole equal to whole or half equal to half. Anytime you have a question, if you're not sure, try it both ways or more than one way. All right, next question. Use the rectangle KLMN in the given information to find the following. Okay, so I'm going to start out with the measure of angle 1 is 70 degrees. So when I am 70 degrees, I know I'm talking about a right triangle or my rectangle. So when I have a rectangle, I know the angles are all 90 degrees. So if this angle is 90 degrees and the two angles together this angle 1 is 70 degrees and the two angles together total 90. I know 90 minus 70 is 20 degrees. So I know angle 2 is 20 degrees. Okay, so next I know, since this is a parallelogram first, I have two parallel lines. And here's my transversal. The diagonal is the transversal. So I know angle 1 and angle 5 are alternate interior angles. So I know angle 5 is also 70 degrees. And 20 and angle 6 are also alternate interior angles. And alternate interior angles are congruent, so I know angle 6 is 20 degrees. I could do the same thing with my parallel lines that are horizontal. So these are my parallel lines. Now the other diagonal is my transversal. So what do we have here? So I know that all four angles are the same. So if this angle is 70 degrees, this is going to be 70 and 20. I can tell by looking which is the larger and the smaller. So alternate interior angles, so 70 and 20. So angle 3 is 20 degrees, angle 4 is 70 degrees. Angle 7 is 20 degrees. Angle 8 is 70 degrees. Okay, so I get to these two angles in the middle. So I'm going to go back to the triangle sum theorem that we talked about. So I want to just look at one of the triangles. So right now I know these two angles are 20 degrees, and I want to know this angle 10 here. And I know all three angles total 180. by the triangle sum theorem. So I'm going to add my 20 degrees plus my 20 degrees plus my angle 10. And I know they total 180. So 20 is 40. So 180 minus 40 is going to be 140 degrees. Okay, so I know, and 9 and 10 are vertical angles, and vertical angles are congruent. So 140 degrees. So the word rectangle tells me a lot of information. So it's not just a word, but it's telling me I have 4 right angles, my diagonals are congruent, and then I have all these angle relationships. All right, let's try number 4. In quadrilateral MATH and the given information, find the following. Math is a square. So I have a new word here. So I have some new properties. So I know all 4 sides are congruent. I know the diagonals bisect each other. And I know that the diagonals are perpendicular. And I know I have 4 right angles. And I know all of this just from the word square. Okay, so if the distance from M to A is 8, what is the distance from H to T? They're congruent, so I know H to T is 8. The measure of angle HST, that's this angle here. So this angle is 90, so these are vertical angles. So all 4 angles are 90, so I have 90 degrees. The measure of angle MAT is asking me what is the measure of this angle, MAT. So on a square, those are 90 degrees. If the distance from H to S equals 2, then the distance from H to A, so that's the whole distance of the diagonal. So this distance is 2, this distance is 2. This is going to be 2 plus 2, which is 4. And the distance from M to T is 4. So my diagonals are congruent. So square has a lot of properties just by saying the word square. Let's try another one. If the measure, use square ABCD and the given information to find each. If the measure of angle AED, so AED, so this angle here, equals 5x plus 5, find x. Well, I know these diagonals are perpendicular, so my equation is 5x plus 5 equals 90 because I know I have a right angle. So I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. So 5x equals 85. I'm going to divide both sides by 5. So I get x equals 17. It's just asking me for x in this equation. If the measure of angle BAC, so BAC, so it's talking about this angle here, is 5y, find the value of y. So one of the properties of a square is these angles are bisected. So they're cut in half. So I know if the whole angle is 90, I know half of the angle is 45 degrees. So I'm going to divide both sides by 5, and I get y equals 9. Okay, rhombus. Problem with the rhombus. Okay, so rhombus. So I know all four sides are congruent. These are perpendicular. If the measure of angle SWT is 2x plus 8, find x. Well, I know my diagonals are perpendicular, so I know all four of these angles are perpendicular. So a perpendicular angle is a right angle, so that equals 90. So I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. I get 2x equals 82. Divide both sides by 2. And I get x equals 41. It just asking me to find x. Make sure you answer the question. Rhombus, RSTV. RSTV is a rhombus. So rhombus is telling me I have 4 equal sides. I am perpendicular. If the measure of angle WRV, so WRV, so this angle here is 5x plus 5, and the measure of angle WRS, so that's this angle, is 7x minus 19. What is the value of x? So I know these two angles are bisected, so these angles are congruent. So when my angles are congruent, I can write an equation saying they're equal. So 5x plus 5 equals 7x minus 19. I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides. Get 5 equals 2x minus 19. Add 19. 24 equals 2x. Divide by 2. And I get x equals 12. And it's just asking me to find x. Okay, I think that's it.